Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I just like to post pictures of my art. That's about it. I've also included a link to the Marvel fan page, particularly this story, that'll kind of give you a plot synopsis and characters that are in there, and you can click and find out a little bit more about them. I've also created a playlist. I've been covering Spider-Man 2099 from the very beginning, so I've got issues 1 through 6 already in there. Feel free to catch up if you would like. So, we're going to look at Spider-Man 2099, number 7 from 1993, written by one of my favorite writers, Peter David, who, by the way, has a GoFundMe account. Help him out if you can. Drawn by Rick Leonardi, who is the penciler. He was a very, very solid fill-in artist with the Uncanny X-Men during the Mark Silvestri run. And then the inks are by Al Williamson. Rest in peace, Al. He does a little bit of a sloppy work, and I say sloppy in a good way, very similar to Bill Sienkiewicz, I think. Al Williamson is also John Romita Jr.'s penciler during his Daredevil run. Al Williamson is a beautiful artist, but he really worked. It seemed he either worked fast or he just gave it, because if you look at the energy, this dude, so we're gonna just look here. I mean, he's using a pen. He's just dashing out very quickly. So I don't know whether or not he was just filling in or whatever, but it is clearly he was working fast. Now, I particularly love this. So I'm not criticizing him. I'm actually complimenting him. I really do like that messy look. It's part of the reason I like Bill Sienkiewicz so much. I just love that kinetic speed. So, all right. So we're going to pick up where we left off. Spider-Man is not feeling very well. He's sort of confused to everything that's going on. And he sort of realizes that the Vulture has him here, and here we have Casey Nash, and she is trying to help Spider-Man, who had helped her in the previous issue. Here we have our credits with Peter David, Rick Leonardi, and Al Williamson, and so she's trying to free Spider-Man. The Vulture is not letting her, and here he takes out his claws, and he's gonna try and kill her. Spider-Man actually is able to stop him, and he ends up breaking the little cyber, I don't know, the little cycle, that air motorcycle or whatever you want to call it, like a speeder. And the Vulture says, I wasn't going to hurt her, just kill her, but you made me hack one of the stabilizers. Now she's going to be killed and hurt. That's actually hurt, then killed, but that's all right. And hits Spider-Man to knock him off. And the cycle hits down, and you can see Casey kind of braces for the landing and watches the Vulture take out Spider-Man. And so now we go with Dana D'Angelo going to Miguel's apartment, just wondering, because he hasn't been seen in a while. Dana is his fiance or girlfriend. I don't like that word, fiance. I don't know. But Lila says, hey, he's not here. Or uses actually the first thing. So Peter David does a lot of humor, so you gotta kind of take it with a it's one of his tropes. And so if you remember from before, there was a horrible man in black, and he went there. Okay, Lila, good girl. And so she's like, "What are you talking about?" And Layla says, "Oh, programming. I'll update the files." So she asks if Miguel is there. Layla says no. She says, "Where is he?" Then she says, "Alchemax." Dana says he hated Alchemax. I've got to find a way to get to the bottom of this. And Layla says, "The elevator is the fastest way to the bottom. Although if safety is not your concern, you could jump through the window." And she's like, "Yeah, thanks, Layla." And she goes away, and she finishes like Miguel did. "Oh, goodbye." So Layla is like a hollow projector. Um, I don't know, like when you're with your smartphones and stuff like that. But so this was written in the 90s, and it was like, what would 100 years from now look like? So that was kind of their attempt at it. So, like a personal assistant. That's what I was trying to say. So now we have Gabriel O'Hara. This is Spider-Man's brother. And he's looking for him downtown. Downtown is that section of Manhattan below. Everything has grown to the top. And he's being robbed now by a gang called the Fenris gang. And they want to take his car or his vehicle. And the guy doesn't want to, so he speeds up and runs over this guy. And then the guy points a gun at him. So he says, "Stop the car." So he does, ends up dropping the gun, but the guy ends up falling, and he goes away and keeps the gun. So Spider-Man starts to awaken, and he's complaining about a smell, which we'll come back to later. And notice this little opening here that will show up. And this guy here, they call him the S-Man. He's kind of bring him some food and tells him not to try anything, that he's ready for him. And he actually pushes through the door and goes out. And there the Vulture is waiting for him. He's eating his little soup. And he says, "Hey, we don't need to fight. You're among friends." And his gang is called the Freakers. He says, Spider-Man says that he's asked this question, what it feels like, 1,000 times, but asks, "What is this place?" He's lived in New York for years, and he's never been to this area. And the Vulture says, "This must be your first time downtown." And so I'll kind of just go through it. So, to use a modern parlance, downtown is the bottom of the corporate ladder. The poor, the needy, the desperate, those with menial or dead-end jobs or simply jobless. Our populace is the dregs, the surplus population that Charles Dickens had written of. Once this was prime real estate, but New York couldn't expand outwards, so it expanded upwards, leaving far behind the underbelly of society. So he then tells him that there are cliques, and he's the leader of the largest of the cliques, which is called the Freakers. And then the throwbacks, the scavs, the Trumps, reference to Donald Trump. This is from the 90s. He wasn't president yet, but he was a real estate mogul during this time. Even those religious fools, the Thorax, had their beginnings each here. And each clique has its own priority and territory. Spider-Man says, "This is insane. If you all work together," and then Vulture interrupts us and says, "How quaint and how quaintly dangerous corporate of you. People with opposing views working together, that's insanity." So kind of goes to show you that it doesn't matter what period of time. Humans are humans and people are people. The same problems, despite the advances of technology, the same issues that happening now happened in the 90s, happened in the 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s. It doesn't matter. Happened in the 1800s. So, people with opposing views battling for supremacy. Now that's the natural. The strong can and do devour the weak. So, and he asks about which indie he is, meaning independent, that he doesn't belong to a clique. And of course, he's getting annoyed because Spider-Man keeps asking him questions because he really doesn't know what's going on. And so we now go to Rico Estevez. He's the guy that was fired in the previous issue for shooting at Spider-Man. And so he's like, Stone can't get away with this, as he's going back to the apartment. Can't just toss me aside like that. I'll file a grievance. That's it. And so when he opens the thing, he notices his stuff is gone, and there's a hollow projector, very similar to Layla. He says, message for Sergeant Rico Estevez, formerly of the Public Eye, Division of Alchemax, regarding your termination with prejudice from your position. It says, your account with Armorous Furniture, a division of Alchemax, is now closed. Your utilities have been disconnected. A new talent will occupy the premises within 24 hours. If you are present, you will be arrested for trespassing. And then he's going to repeat the message again. And he clicks on the tape and just says if Spider-Man weren't already dead, I'd kill him. So, back to Spider-Man. Again, look at how fast and how kinetic Al Williamson is inking this. So he's asking about the sky, and he's telling him the Alchemax has taken over the skies. The flyboys are everywhere. The buildings upon the remnants of downtown tower miles high. He came here seeking safety, but sacrificed freedom. And you can see Spider-Man was trying to get away, but that guy, or backing up, but this one is holding it. He says he wants to bring Alchemax down. He wants the skies to be his. He wants to fly free. And says Spider-Man can help him. Otherwise, he might find the alternative unappetizing, just as those fellows did. And then he's looking down. He's like, he realizes that he is a cannibal. He's been eating. And he goes, that stuff that you're eating, that's not. And of course, he confirms it by saying, what'd you think? I was going to waste those perfectly good guards I killed while saving you? So, didn't you ever hear finger foods? Peter David loves to throw funny bits. So he's like screaming here. Decides to fight him. You demented creep, he yells as he punches the Vulture. And they go on a brawl. So he's like, well, we'll just do things without you, and tells the sergeant to kill him, which Spider-Man gets away because he not deflects, but the bullets don't hit him. So now we're at Alchemax here. So Tyler Stone is on a virtual sailing expedition, and you can see here he is speaking with Hikaru from Stark Fujikawa. He's the rival CEO, and they're upset that their agent, the specialist, or they're upset of what happened to him. And Tyler's like, this isn't our fault, Tyler's like, we didn't know Spider-Man was gonna get involved. To which Hikaru says it's just a startling coincidence. So Hikaru basically has figured out that Stone intentionally hired the specialist because Spider-Man would get involved. So, and remove him from the playing board. And they see this as an insult, and Hikaru warns Tyler that he won't not forget this insult. So, and then they end the call. But here comes Winston, his personal assistant, and he tells him that there's a woman to see him, and Tyler's like, is it Inga? Inga's normal day is Thursday, and he says, no, it's Dana D'Angelo. And Tyler says, by all means, let her in. And you can see here that the program is disconnected. And here comes Dana. So Dana says she's not good at confrontation, but wants to tell him that what she did to Miguel was terrible. And Tyler says absolutely, and he agrees with her. He says it was reprehensible and that he was desperate, and he's already apologized to Miguel, or calls him Mike. He knows Miguel hates it profusely, and he's back working with them. And she says that they told him that he wasn't in. And he tells him that he's always been hard to rein in, and he does his best thinking when he's off somewhere. He'd hit a snack, vanish, and come back a few days later with everything all worked out. Tyler says that they both want what's best for Miguel, or he keeps calling him Mike, and they think that they could help each other. So now we are back with Spider-Man here, who goes down the subway, and here's some more meat, or more people. He says, he's like, oh good, I wanted a bite before I continue hunting. He says that these are in the meat locker, and that there's no lack of refrigerator, so it just they keep it there to keep it more preserved. You need it to refrigerate it. It's just the stuff that grows on stuff. So anyway, Spider-Man's about to throw up, and he wants to get out of there before he throws up in the mask. And he climbs up, sees an elevator, so he's gonna make an attempt to get out. The Vulture decides not to follow him here. He says he's got a corporate mentality. He just lets him know that the larger company devours the smaller company. The big fish eats the little fish. Everyone fights for their piece of the pie, all to the benefit of who? That's right, the consumer. And he throws this and says, consume this. And the elevator sense is going down. And he sees the skylight, so he's going to get out. Now the Vulture decides, all right, I'm sick of playing games with you. And he says if he's basically not going to be his second in command, then he's going to be his main core. So elsewhere now, we got Gabriel again, and he's driving around, and this is Casey, but he doesn't know that. So, but you can tell it is just based on it. And says boo, which of course scares him, and he had the gun, so he ends up shooting Casey. So that concludes our issue. So Spider-Man 2099 number 7 from 1993, written by Peter David, penciled by Rick Leonardi, and inks by Al Williamson. Like and subscribe, and thanks for listening.